Have you ever found yourself daydreaming about stepping into a room and feeling completely unshakable, immune to harsh criticism, untouched by rejection, and rising above betrayal as if nothing ever happened? Imagine waking one morning to discover that persistent ache in your chest, the knot of anxiety you didn't even know was there, has finally loosened. You look in the mirror and for the first time in years recognize genuine calm in your own eyes and a steady breath that feels like coming home. It sounds like true liberation, doesn't it? Yet here lies the paradox. The more fiercely we build walls to keep pain at bay, the more distant we become from the authenticity we crave. From childhood onward, society teaches us that vulnerability is weakness. Toughen up, we hear. Don't let them see you sweat. We plaster our lives and our social feeds with slogans like, "What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Stay hard and keep grinding." Each repeated mantra feels like armor, but in reality, we're nailing shut the doors to our own hearts. Every time we bury grief under extra work, drown shame in endless scrolling, or smother fear with forced optimism, we reinforce a barrier that separates us from genuine connection, creative inspiration, and the vitality we yearn for. Now consider the masks we learn to wear to navigate this world. At home, we become the good kid who never causes trouble. At work, the indestructible employee who meets every deadline. Among friends, the life of the party who never lets the energy drop. These adaptive selves reflect what Carl Jung called the persona, a social facade we present so we can fit in and feel safe. The persona is that which in reality one is not, but which oneself, as well as others, think one is, Jung wrote. We don these masks to win approval, shield our vulnerabilities, and juggle multiple roles with ease. Yet over time, maintaining these masks costs us dearly. Emotional exhaustion sets in as we expend precious energy performing roles that may conflict with our true feelings. We sacrifice authenticity as our mask becomes the only version of ourselves we recognize. Relationships suffer, too. When we never peel away our defenses, others cannot connect with the real us. The more adept we become at acting, the more isolated and fragmented we feel. To reclaim our true selves, we must first acknowledge these persona masks. We can begin by reflecting on situations where we default to performance over honesty. We can practice small acts of vulnerability, confessing uncertainty in a meeting, or admitting a personal doubt to a friend. We can clarify our core values by listing what matters most and comparing our daily choices against these values. And we can set boundaries, turning off notifications after hours or scheduling solo time to reduce the pressure to perform constantly. In shedding our persona masks, we begin to bridge the gap between who we appear to be and who we truly are. We open ourselves to deeper self-awareness, richer relationships, and a life lived with authenticity rather than artifice. As we peel away our persona masks, we often believe that authenticity alone will free us from emotional entrapment. Yet another barrier lies waiting just beyond self-expression, the pull of the crowd. You may have unmasked yourself in a meeting, intent on voicing an original idea, only to find the collective nods around you, drawing you back into silence. Even when you know the group's direction is flawed, the instinct to conform, born of a fear of isolation or ridicule, can feel stronger than your will to speak truth. This powerful tendency was laid bare by Solomon Asch's conformity experiments in the 1950s. Participants were asked to match the length of a line to one of three options, surrounded by actors who deliberately gave wrong answers. Despite seeing the clear mismatch, most individuals chose to align with the majority rather than risk standing out. As Asch concluded, when the pressure of the group is on, a majority will enforce its unanimity even against the strong pressure of evidence and logic. In our daily lives, this means that the same masks we shed to reclaim our true selves can be swiftly replaced by the persona of the agreeable team member. We suppress dissent to maintain harmony, trading our critical thinking for the illusion of unity. Over time, missed opportunities and unchallenged assumptions accumulate beneath a veneer of consensus, undercutting innovation and stifling genuine connection. Breaking free requires more than self-awareness. It demands the courage to name the pressure when it arises. The next time you feel your hand stilled in midair, pause and ask yourself, is my silence driven by genuine agreement or by a fear of standing alone? Once we recognize this moment of choice, we can practice small acts of dissent, offering an alternate data point, asking a what-if question, or simply acknowledging, I see it differently. Each act chips away at the conformity trap, replacing it with a new mask, not of compliance, but of integrity. By refusing to outsource our judgments to the masses, we reinforce the authenticity we fought so hard to uncover. In shedding the persona of the unthinking follower, we solidify the bridge between our truest self and the world, one courageous question at a time. Even after shedding persona masks and resisting the pull of the crowd, a final invisible barrier often remains, the tinted lens of our own beliefs. Confirmation bias invites us to cherry-pick data that supports our existing viewpoints while dismissing anything that contradicts them. You may have already challenged yourself to speak up and question the group's consensus, yet still find yourself scrolling past articles that don't align with your worldview or shrugging off feedback that makes you uncomfortable. This cognitive blind spot was first identified by psychologists like Peter Wason, who asked participants to test number sequences. Most people sought examples that confirmed their guess, rather than trying to disprove it. In daily life, confirmation bias shows up when we only read news outlets that echo our opinions, or when we interpret ambiguous feedback in the most flattering way. We see what we expect to see, as Wason's work implied, reinforcing our existing mental models at the expense of truth. The danger is subtle, but pervasive. Unchecked confirmation bias locks us into echo chambers, internal and external, where our belief systems grow ever more rigid. We become less willing to entertain alternative viewpoints or new information, stunting both our personal growth and our collective innovation. Friends and colleagues may advise a different approach, but we dismiss their counsel as misinformed. Data that challenges us is filed away as anomaly rather than catalyst for change. Breaking free from this tinted lens begins with curiosity. The next time you encounter evidence that supports your stance, pause and ask yourself, how would I react if I saw proof against this? Then deliberately seek out one source or opinion that contradicts your assumption. Read it with openness, looking not to debunk it, but to understand its reasoning. Over time, this practice rewires your brain's default from confirmation to exploration. In combining these three breakthroughs, unmasking our persona, daring to dissent from the majority, and interrogating our own biases, we dismantle the barriers to authenticity one by one. We no longer need armor. We no longer need to conform. And we no longer need to filter reality through preordained lenses. What remains is a clear, unguarded pathway between our inner truth and the world around us. When we operate from this place of genuine self-awareness, courageous honesty, and open-minded curiosity, we step into a version of ourselves that is unshakable, not because we are invulnerable, but because we are deeply aligned with reality and with who we truly are. That alignment is the ultimate liberation, the wellspring of genuine connection, creativity, and resilience.